Hi, my name is Anita Sharma, and I am the host of Sign the Podcast, Conversations with Digital Mavericks. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, and please follow, like, subscribe, do all those things on social that help this podcast get out into the world and get heard. We can be found at Sign the Podcast. I just wanted to record this short video to sort of lay some context down for you before you listen to this episode with the incredible Sidney Raz, aka Sid Raz. Sid was actually my first guest on this podcast, and we recorded his episode back in May of 2025, and we are now just releasing it here in November. So I had to sort of provide a little bit of an update. Now, you'll hear in the episode Sid talking about receiving his diagnosis of stomach cancer back in March of 2025. And, he found out in a really sad fashion, and he talks about that process. Now, when we recorded the episode, he had not yet had his stomach removal surgery, which he ended up having in July of this year, to July of 2025. And thank God it went incredibly well. And today he is cancer-free. So, beyond thrilled to share that news with you. And in typical Sid fashion, he has given back to the community and raised a bunch of money for stomach cancer research. I believe in the amount of $50,000 or more. He's an incredible person doing incredible things in the world, and thank God, cancer-free. So I wanted to just, give a little bit of context before you listen to the episode. He also talks about all kinds of, amazing things in terms of how he started, how he built his business, a lot of great insider tips. So hope you enjoy the episode as much as I did. And again, please follow, like, subscribe to @Sign the Podcast on all socials. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the episode. Welcome to Signed, Conversations with Digital Mavericks. I'm your host, Anita Sharma, and I am very excited about our guest today. His name is Sidney Raz, also known as Sid Raz, Mr. Life Hacks in My 30s. He is a digital creator and author, and frankly has the best head of hair I've ever seen on a human head. Welcome to the show. Signed, Conversations with Digital Mavericks. I am so excited to have you on, and you and I have been working together for a few years. And whenever people find out what I do, and I say, I represent digital content creators, I represent influencers, and then they say, oh, like who? And I'll mention your name, and they'll be like, that guy? I love that guy.
Thanks.
And I swear to you, I'm not just saying this. They all know who you are, and they're like, the hack guy, love that guy.
That's so cool.
Welcome.
I know that you represent some people, that I've seen from your newsletter. I'm always like, whoa, I'm in their circle. Cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You deserve to be there. There's no doubt about that. So thank you for joining, and especially, during this difficult time for you. And when we first planned to have you on the podcast, none of this stuff was happening. And I'm going to let you speak to it, but you've been dealing with this, very serious situation in terms of your health.
Yeah.
And, would love to hear more about where you're at with that.
It was such a wild experience. And thank you for saying that. But yeah, it was like, oh, I have my, we had booked this. And then I had to tell you that, oh, by the way, I might have my stomach removed on the 18th. So I hope that doesn't interfere with our production schedule.
I was like, oh, come on, Sid. Priorities, my friend. Come on.
Yes. But then I didn't have it out on the 18th because we got some good test results back. But yeah, so for those of you just tuning in, I was diagnosed with stage T1A stomach cancer. About 4 weeks ago now, so pretty much a month ago. And it really just blindsided us, my family and I. And it really just sort of like threw me for a loop and just sort of confused a lot of situations. And the way we found it was because we lost my second daughter in utero at 26 weeks to holoprosencephaly, and we wanted to figure out why she wasn't growing her brain. That's what holoprosencephaly is. And she didn't come back with any genetic abnormalities except for this one, which is ctNNA1, which led me to get an upper endoscopy. They biopsied parts of my stomach, and they found a very small lesion of poorly differentiated cells. I'm learning all of these like cool phrases now and cool like words that I had no idea existed before I had stomach cancer. And then it was kind of like, okay, well, you just you know, the quote easiest form of treatment is complete stomach removal, complete gastrectomy. And I thought it was way less of a thing than it actually is, you know, like we use our stomachs all the time.
Terrifying.
Yeah, we lose our stomach. We use our stomachs all the time, but you know. So anyway, so I decided after the endoscopic ultrasound, which was another test, we saw that my stomach was really good, and it was very, very early. So we had a little bit more time. So we decided to push the surgery to after VidCon, because originally I was, this is a little inside baseball, but the actual reason why I wanted to get the surgery done on April 18th was because my surgeon said you need a month of recovery before you can, like, you know, lift heavy things and do that sort of stuff. When we got the good news about the upper endoscopic ultrasound, you know, we talked to my surgeons, we talked to my care team here at City of Hope in Los Angeles, and we decided that it was safe and okay to move on with surgery later. So I moved it to after VidCon, which is coincidentally, hopefully, after my home renovation is done. So I'll have more bathrooms and more rooms than two.
Just all the life changes at once.
Yeah.
So you decided to throw a home reno in there because your life was not complicated enough right now.
Anita, I don't know, like, my wife and I do a lot of things at once. And this was actually our breaking point. This was the one that it was like, we can't do this. I'm so sorry. Like, could we just please pause on something?
I bet. Yeah. Too much rebuilding happening right now.
It was just so hopefully the house will be done. You know, we're living in a rental right now, but yeah, it was just sort of like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know if I can curse on this podcast, but I hope I can.
Yeah, of course you can. Please do. Please do. Yeah. I am going to play it for my 7-year-old, but she already knows curse words, so
she already knows it. I think my 2-year-old was like, I think my wife like slipped on something, and my wife goes, "Jesus fucking Christ!" And then my 2-year-old said it. Yeah, a classic. And then my 2-year-old said it all the way to daycare, and then my wife had to be like, "We can't say that. We can't say that." Yes.
Yeah, try living in Brooklyn where people just randomly yell that stuff out on the street.
What I don't know if it was about Brooklyn. I think it was, but Michael Cera said that his impression of Brooklyn is just someone in the background going, "Hey!"
I saw that bit. Yeah, I have a little bit of weird trivia for you, but I lived in the same building in Toronto as Michael Cera.
Oh, really?
That is a weird Michael Cera connection.
There
but I
go.
did see that piece by. It's so true. It's just randomly dudes yelling that. Yes,
just
and
screaming.
Also swear words randomly. So yeah, my children they've heard it all.
It's amazing. That's like. So it's just, I don't know, this whole life thing is like completely blindsided us, and we've had like such a crazy year. I mean, it was 7 months ago that I lost my daughter, or 8 months ago, and it's like,
and I'm sorry to hear that. I've been through pregnancy loss myself, so I, when that happened, I could really relate, and I know it's very hard.
Yeah, and I'm sorry you had to go through it, but it was one of those like very intense things. Like, we got to deliver her, hold her.
Oh, wow.
Like, we cremated her, we have her remains, and it was just one of those things where we felt the worst pain possible in order to like exercise it, in order to just like feel normal. And it
Yeah,
was
I
really
did not
hard.
have that type of experience, but I'm
Yeah.
so sorry to hear that. That's heartbreaking. And
It's,
and the crazy part is it brings you to this,
yeah, exactly.
right? Like discovering this early on, um, which is amazing and so ironic and so crazy how life works. But
Yeah.
it's sort of this, I don't want to say a blessing in disguise. It seems to like not do it justice, but it's life. It's so strange the way it works.
Yeah. I mean, one of my friends said that even non-believers would believe in some God because of this, right? Like there's,
Right.
like there's just too many things that had to line up in order, in order for it to be here. And my wife and I, when we lost my daughter Delphina, we had to realize like that was a blip. Like that does not happen. Like this is something that even in the medical community, hadn't seen in 20 years because holoprosencephaly, just like a full holoprosencephaly is crazy. So when that happened, we were like, wow, we're on the bad side of the odds. And then when we got the tests, when we got my test, when we kept going and kept going and kept going, it's bad side of the odds, bad side of the odds, bad side of the odds. And then we got up to, we just caught the thing that was going to kill you. Now we can remove it and hopefully we'll be good. Like more than likely we'll be good. And then you'll live your life. And it's like, oh, so then it just flips to the good side of the odds, which is crazy.
I think what's another, bright light in all of this is you being able to share,
Yes.
right? And I'm sure you're helping. And again, it doesn't make it better and it doesn't make the diagnosis go away, but the fact that you're doing a newsletter now, that you're sharing this with so many people in your audience, and from the last I saw was 11,000 subscribers. I'm sure by the time this airs, it's going to be even more. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was, one of the things, thank you for saying that. I do have a newsletter. It's on Beehive now. Sign up, Sidney Raz.
Cool. Please do. We'll include it in the link.
I've been thinking about how to phrase this, the last few weeks. And, I've spent almost 20 years now on the internet trying to be successful, right? And it finally paid off 4 years ago, right? And then I only have been full-time almost 3 years. And in that time, I absorbed a lot of information. I was trying, testing different things out. But now with this diagnosis, I'm realizing like how good at the thing I am because, for example, the 11,000 signups that I have for the newsletter, it is showcasing how much people want to know about my life or that care about me, right? That actually like sign up for the newsletter to find out more information, to make sure I'm okay, all that kind of stuff. But then on the flip side of that, I figured out how to utilize something like Instagram correctly in order to push for those signups. I would say like 95% of those signups is just from Instagram story clicks. That is crazy, right? So for me, I tested a few formats. I tried something out on Instagram stories and it worked. And I found what works with my audience. I found what works with inside the platform and I utilized it correctly in order to get those conversions. And to me, that was like, oh, wow, like I'm really I'm good at what I do, know, and, even
which the outside world would see and say, like, I can't believe he doesn't think he's good at what he does, considering what he's built. But
I think
I do want to get back to what you were saying about working for 20 years. It's only in the last 4 years you hit, and 3 years ago you became full-time, because I think so many people are like, oh yeah, that they think it's easy. They think you create something and success comes overnight and all of a sudden this massive audience follows. And I try to explain to people, that's not how it works. Like my clients work their asses off. It's a skill set, it's a commitment, it's a full-time job, it's, creating content, forming a team. So yeah, I think, hearing your story is going to be really interesting from, where you started to where you are now, and being able to have, 11,000 signups on your newsletter. And I think the other point, which I'd love to talk more about too, is just like learning things along the way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the 11,000 signups is kind of crazy because it's like that's such a powerful thing to say. I own that list, right? I think something that, and I'm,
Well, you built it from the ground up.
Yeah, right. And I think to know that many people like really want to see what I have to say is incredible. And I mean, you have a
Absolutely.
great newsletter too, and it's one of those things where it's like, and like it's just such a different economy. It's such a different existence. Like when I got back, so this past January, I went to the 1 billion follower summit in Dubai, and the big things was, newsletter, LinkedIn, podcast. Like, okay, cool. So I was doing LinkedIn pretty good, but then cancer happened, and I'm like, I don't have time for that right now. And then, but my newsletter is still something that I can like just push out and get going every week. And it's just like one of those things where, yeah, like it took a long time to figure out how to use these things. And I mean, you know this, but something you just alluded to was like, I will never find myself as a success just because of whatever reason that is, right? There's always another goalpost. There's always another thing. There's always someone that is doing better than me, right? And but with this, I'm like, but a newsletter feels like, wow, like that's something that you really can't take away from me, especially with like the TikTok ban, whatever it is. That's something where I'm like, at least I can trust that I have that list. And that's a pretty incredible thing. And yeah, it took forever to figure it out. And I think I'm very lucky that I have an opportunity to speak freely and speak my mind in something like a newsletter. And it's exciting. It really is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I can understand how you feel it's something that you really own, because otherwise creators are at the whims of these platforms, and you can be doing insanely well one day and then TikTok's banned the next. And so I do see that, and I see that with my clients as well, like turning towards building their own communities, things they can control, such as newsletters, subscriptions. I like to start with your first post. What was that? What was it on?
My first post ever on the internet?
Your first post ever on the internet.
Oh my gosh. My first post ever on the internet as a person or as like as a creator?
I guess as a creator.
Okay. I think my first post ever was on YouTube in 2007, probably in like September or January or something. It might have been like 2008, but it was probably 2007. I had my MacBook, the classic iCam that a lot of us got, and I was watching people like Phil DeFranco and Charles Trippy and the one guy that no one knows but Blunty 3000, which was just this Australian guy out of, I think, the Gold Coast. I'm not exactly sure. Then there was Geriatric 1927. There was like, all of these like first generation YouTubers, right? And I saw all these people like making videos and like ostensibly getting famous. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. That sounds cool.
I feel like being a jellyfish today.
I found out that when I was in high school, when I started posting videos, one of the biggest reasons why I liked posting videos is because I like editing, right?
So when it's so funny because most creators are like, that's the worst part.
I know. It's very weird. And like literally someone yesterday was like, so you want to build your team more, but you're spending a lot of time on editing, so maybe get an editor. And I was like, but I like doing it. That's the difference between me and most creators. I like doing it. I don't want to do the rest of it. Or maybe there's other.
Why is that? What is it about editing?
I think I enjoy focusing in on that and like seeing it happen. Sort of like really like when you build something, right? When you build a birdhouse or build a deck or build, whatever. It's like, oh, you're seeing the progress, right? You're seeing the outcome of it. You're seeing it start to finish. And I think I really just enjoy that aspect of it. And I just like kind of enjoy moving around the keys and like learning little tips. And I don't know, it's really fun. It's like a little puzzle. or, you know, like it's all in my brain. I have a lot of control over it. You know, maybe there's something there with that. But yeah, in 2007, I just started posting videos. And I think my first video was something like, you know, 50 things in my room or whatever,
Right.
you know, or like,
Nice.
or like,
It sounds like a high schooler for sure.
yeah,
Like,
I
hey,
think I did.
look at what's in my room.
I
Yeah.
think I did impressions of creators at the time. I did impressions of Hank. I did impressions of Phil. I think I did impressions of some other people. And yeah, I was just having a good time. And then I wasn't posting frequently enough, and it didn't work. But I knew that, you know, being successful in that way was so different and so alternative to anything else that I had ever learned that I just always wanted to do it. And then 18 years later, here we are.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so between that first post and now, there was definitely,
Yeah.
you know, what I find interesting about your journey is that you worked at media companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the one thing that I always wanted to do was stay close to the game, right? When I was living in Richmond, Virginia, it wasn't close enough. It wasn't it wasn't New York, it wasn't Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't like the hub of media and
And this
exciting things going on in Richmond.
No, not exactly.
No.
We really did pretend to. We really tried to.
Yes.
Richmond is one of those classic places that's like always coming up, right? You always hear
Right.
that. You always hear the
It's always coming
man.
up, but it never quite gets
It's
there.
always coming up. It's
Right.
always about to pop off. You're always about to.
And then the Sid Razes of the world leave.
Yeah.
So it
And I'm
just
like,
falls right back
yeah,
down again.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't keep waiting. Sorry, guys, I gotta go. Like, I can't keep waiting for it to come up, and I am not gonna. I'm sorry that I do not want to personally build this entire economy in Richmond. I might now, but I don't think maybe.
Yeah. Now
But-
you go back to Richmond, get a key to the city, be done with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I go into the Chili's that I used to work at, and I'm like, yeah, well, I used to be here. But no, so basically, when I was in Richmond, I was making YouTube videos. I was, doing my thing. And then I just saw everyone in Los Angeles getting into, Maker Studios or Studio 71 or Full Screen, all of these things.
Oh, yeah. All the OG players.
Right, yeah.
Back in the day, those MCNs.
And those MCNs, they're coming back, by the way. MCNs are coming back,
yeah.
which is so weird. It is not okay.
It's full circle.
It's full circle. But
Mhm.
actually, Anita, you might like this, but I had two choices, right? Either I moved to New York or I moved to Los Angeles. Those are the two options. Los Angeles felt like the place where most of the YouTubers were. But there was this really interesting, like, New York syndicate where it was like, oh, you go up to New York, you hang out with the city. I don't know. It just sort of felt
there was
weird.
the whole Casey Neistat thing. He
Yeah,
was
exactly.
Like the king of New York in that industry, in the creator industry.
This was in 2012, and I think Casey was like really just coming up. But I realized also recently the reason I didn't move to New York was because I had an ex-girlfriend in New York, and I was like, I probably shouldn't go to New York and
Right.
be there. And let's go to LA. Let's go to Los Angeles. Let's see what happens. And now, 13 years later, I have a daughter and a wife and loving life. And
There you go.
Wearing
And-
super
and-
bright colors, and I have long hair. And it's like, well, I guess I'm a Angelino now.
That's right.
Like
Well, I'm glad. It sounds like you dodged a bullet.
I
so
did.
good.
I love New York so
Good.
much, but it was I love it so much. But like when you only spend time in Midtown, it's like not
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, that can be soul sucking.
Yeah, it's like not
for
exactly like 30 Rock isn't New York,
Sure. Yes, 30 Rock is not New York for sure. So no, I hear you, but you're welcome here anytime. I actually feel
appreciate
the
it.
opposite. So I love LA so much, but I would never want to live there. It's just me personally,
Yeah.
and my heart's in New York, but I love visiting LA. I love it.
Yeah, Los Angeles is fantastic. There's so much to it, but yeah. So what I did was I moved to Los Angeles, and then I was like, all right, I have a background in social media in terms of like interning here or working for my college there, right? and posting YouTube videos. And so then when I moved here, I just went on, I think, entertainment careers and found an internship at React Media or the Fine Bros, back in the day. Right when they were getting their like funding from YouTube to like make bigger things. So I got a internship as a social media intern at Fine Bros. And then I was there for a while. I left. I worked at Google as a Google Glass brand ambassador, right? So which was wild.
Yes.
I did that for a little bit.
I remember those days when YouTube was paying people big bucks to make stuff. I remember all
it was like Rainn Wilson had a thing.
Yeah. YouTube
Phil
Originals.
Rhett and Link.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And Awesomeness TV, that was the big one. And, I just knew that as long as I stayed close to it, I would still have some understanding of how it all worked.
You were out in LA, so did it ever strike you to be like, I should be in TV or film? Like, quote, traditional, versus this insane creator thing where nobody really knew what was going on, and YouTube and,
Not really. I think I tried in the sense of like, well, I'm in Los Angeles and like, I have a face, so why not try to go on some commercial shoots, right? And I got into a couple commercial shoots that I was cut from.
Oh yeah.
I never really went for it, and it was always YouTube. The goal is always YouTube, right? Like that's still my goal. Like I still want to be a YouTuber, even though that's not you don't have to do that anymore.
I mean, what's amazing now is that YouTube is what it is now, right? Like back then it was sort of like nobody really knew. It was a lot of cat videos. People were just kind of creating a bunch of random content. And now it's like, it's such a powerhouse. I mean, this is what kids are watching. This is what people watch now, period.
Exactly.
Exactly. So it's a good thing that you stuck with it because look at you now.
Yeah. Well, and that was the kind of thing like just keep going. And the reason why I just wanted to be a YouTuber or wanted to stick near YouTube was like, I know that I can do this, right? Like you kind of, I always think about this quote from Larry David about why he wanted to become a comedian. And he goes, well, I went to a few shows and I thought, I can do that. This asshole can do it. I can do that, right? And every single time, like I worked at React Media for 5 years. It was basically my trade school. So I interned, I left, and I came back and I actually worked there for 5 years. So when I would see these people, YouTubers react, Vine stars react, whatever it was, walk in and out of the studio, every time I would be like, this is not like, why you? This is not right. Like I love that. I would go to VidCon. It was VidCon 1. And I went there. It was at the basement of the Beverly Hilton or something. And I went there and I was watching. It was
the basement.
Of course it was. Because at that point,
they're not going to give you the. You're not going to get the good ballrooms. You're not going to get.
Basement. Yeah, you're not going to get the convention center across the street from Disney.
Exactly.
But I saw these people up there and I was like, you are not special. Like I know I can be better than you or you. I know I can do this. And the answers that they were giving, all of these things, I was like, I want to be this because I know I can. And that's what I did. And I just kept at it and I kept like failing at every platform.
I love that. And you know what? I was the same way. Like I was literally like, who does that lawyer think they are? Like they're not as smart as I am. Like absolutely. That can get you far in life, by the way. Like, some people would call it delusion and that's okay. But that could get you far in life, that attitude, for sure. And like, look where it's got you.
Exactly. And when I was in at the Billion Follower Summit in January, I was around this table with a bunch of other amazing people. And one of them asked, so what is your like delusional thing that you think you can do? And everyone was like, I don't know, fight a bear or drive a fast car in NASCAR or something like that. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm literally doing the delusional thing. Like
that's amazing. I love that.
I am literally like every single time I really just like sit down and like accept my own reality. I'm like, oh, this is my dream come true. Like I am completely delusional and I did it.
Amazing.
Like how?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And that is the best feeling in the world, by the way, because
it
I
really
only
is.
recently have started to get that feeling where I'm like, wow, like I'm doing the thing here, got
Yeah.
my firm, we're doing well, we're working every day. I love what I do. You know,
Yeah.
it's so interesting and I'm grateful for that. And it takes a while to get there, but once you do, it feels great.
It's an incredible feeling. And like, yeah, so it just took 15 years of just knowing that I wanted to do it and
Yeah.
never
And that's what people
stopping.
don't see, right?
Yeah.
It's that whole iceberg thing we always see where it's
Yeah.
like the part under the water and then that tiny tip
Yeah.
above. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, but it was also like the idea of like post on every single platform until something hits. That's basically what happened.
So you work at React, you work at Google, you're cutting your teeth, you're seeing these YouTubers, you're like, what is going on here? I could do better than that.
Yeah.
And so at what point do you make that leap from, frankly, corporate America
Yeah.
to doing your own thing?
Which I do not take for granted, by the way. Corporate America taught me how to reply to an email correctly
Sure.
and efficiently. Like, you know, I sort of, I don't know how often this happens, but I think of myself as like the best influencer in the game that responds to emails cordially or delivers assets on time.
I can attest to this. Your emails are impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Well written. You know, you respond quickly. The periods are in the right place.
Right,
The
like
commas, the capitals.
you know,
Yes.
I'm
I've never
on,
seen you respond with just the letter K, and I thank you for that.
yeah, like I'm not. I only recently have been replying with emojis if I'm prompted by the person before, right? Like that's
Right.
not like I'm not doing that. But
You're not leading with the emojis, got it.
right, I'm not leading with the emojis exactly. But yeah, so anyway, so I cut my teeth, I do all this stuff, and I see all these people succeed, and I hate all of them, but I want to be them, and I respect all of them as well if any one of them is listening. But I want to make sure. So basically, what happens in 2019, React or FBE was making all these videos about teens react to TikTok trends or teens react to whatever trend there was. And it was always TikTok. It was always TikTok. I knew at the time that I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post on TikTok every single day. And TikTok was the most, if not the most, incredible place because it allowed the content creator to so incredibly easily become the piece of content, right? Become the meme. Your total personhood was on screen with the image, with the sound, with the trend, whatever. And you could just use the sound. Like it was just there. Like it was incredible. So what I did was I found a sound that I could easily do every single day. And I was like, I'll just do it every day. I'll just do it every day. I'll just get used to the platform because platform. And then I did that for about a year and a half. It was, the sound that I used was starting at like 0 followers, right? Like this is a video for everyone who's not TikTok famous. So if you are, keep scrolling. Beat, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And like, that was it, right?
That's amazing.
That was the entire sound. And
the second you tell people to move along, they want to watch.
Right.
Because they're like, wait a second,
exactly.
What's going on here?
And especially at the time, and I'm sure still now, so many people are not TikTok famous, but want to be TikTok famous.
This is a video for everyone who's not TikTok famous, so if you are, keep scrolling. What the fuck are we doing wrong?
So I did that. I basically did that as a vlog for a year. Every single day, I made that sound every single day. And then I found other things that I wanted to do. I found other trends. I used the effects and blah, blah, blah. And it like kept on growing. And it took me like a year and a half to grow from 0 to 90K, posting multiple times a day. I posted the day of my wedding. I posted a video with my then fiance for another 6 hours. And I said, hey, honey, I know we're about to get married, but I did just cross 7,000 followers on TikTok. So, kind of a big deal. And she just did the background like, yay.
Yeah, that's
yay.
amazing. I love that. That's so cute.
And that's really what it did. And then I tried out different formats. And that was another thing, right? Like I knew that being in the space for a long time, I knew that I had to like test different formats, think about what people were coming to a platform for.
Right. And so was your goal like, okay, I want to build a following? Because it sounds like you were throwing a lot of things at the wall to see what stuck, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But you were sort of open to pivoting and making changes, and you were like, okay, I'm going to try this and see if it works. It's like you were responding in real time to, the data that you were getting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was also just a sense of like, what can I do that's easily repeatable, that isn't going to waste time because I'm not getting paid for this, right? So I knew that it was just like for nothing. Mm-hmm. But I also knew that it felt like old YouTube, and I was like, oh, I know how to do this. So I'll just do that, right?
Right.
I had seen it so many times.
And so when you say it felt like old YouTube, meaning like for you, it felt like creating at that time?
Mm-hmm. The communities like popping up.
Early days, right.
The communities, the little friend groups, the things in the algorithm that I was getting pushed towards, these like little clicks that I saw. I was like, this is just like 2012 YouTube. Like I know what this is. And they weren't doing it like, and it was just the exact same thing. And it was, the monetization was also insane. Like, like nobody knew what was happening. I was like, oh, this is just 10 years ago. This is crazy.
Yeah. And so you're doing all these different types of, well, not different types of videos. You're consistently posting things and kind of seeing what kind of traction you're getting. So how do you get into the hacks? Because that's really, and first of all, by the way, like, as you know, I'm sure there's so many imitators out there now.
Yeah.
There's so many people doing it.
Dude.
But I feel like you were the original, and I'm just going to, whether you were or not, I'm going to crown you that, because I am 99% sure you were the first guy that did it and ran with it. And I definitely want to get into talking about how the hell did you manage it? How do you find so many? How do you do it? But what gave you the idea originally?
Thank you so much for saying that. You are probably the first person, definitely on a podcast, I think, in a long time, probably ever, to be like, I know, like, I'm being ripped off so much. And when I started getting ripped off, I was just like, man, like, like, I guess I did the good thing. I don't know,
Yeah.
But at the same...
there's hundreds, if not thousands of people doing what you're doing. What you were doing originally and continue to do.
I appreciate that. But yeah, basically I fell into it because it was 2021 and I had tried to do a series called Things You Should Know About Los Angeles Before You Move Here. And that caught on. That was a little okay. And I also did something called TikTok Public Access, which was...
I like it already.
Yeah, which was...
It's making me think of Tom Green. And
it was literally... And my wife has this giant sand collection, and we had been married for...
Did you say sand?
Sand collection. Sand.
Like S-A-N-D?
Yeah, sand.
Okay.
She has a bunch of sand jars. She has a bunch of little pill jars filled with sand, right?
Amazing.
And they're all labeled, and they all have different places. So heavy.
That's so cool. I've never actually heard of anyone with a sand collection. Yeah, that's very interesting.
It's pretty rad. It's pretty wild.
I feel like you could definitely create some content around that, by the way, down the road.
That's a really good idea. But I did create content out of it. And it's hanging in our bathroom, and then I'm talking high COVID, right? Like this is March, April 2020, right?
God,
like this is like locked in house, nowhere to go,
right?
Toilet paper gone,
accepting your fate,
right?
This
like
we're completely fucking insane.
We are deep in COVID. Right?
Yes.
And the thing that I decided to do with TikTok Public Access, which I saw someone else do, and I was like, that's really funny. I was like, I just called the series My Wife's Sand Collection. And every single video, I would just pull out a new sand and talk about it.
Right.
That's it, right? And that was all I did, right?
Clearly, I didn't see those. I should have, because that's exactly what I was thinking that you should do, which is you already did.
So then I would get messages from like friends of ours and Kelsey's and being like, dude, my friend just said he saw a guy talk about his wife's sand collection and it's Sid. I'm like, sorry, honey. But anyway, so then I did that, and then I did things I wish I knew before I moved here or something like that. And it was like, you have to pay for parking. You know, Santa Monica is not Los Angeles. The best tacos are blank or whatever, you know, whatever like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then I knew.
Yeah,
and I
valets
knew that, like,
aren't just for rich people.
exactly. Like, valet is actually like super helpful in K-Town.
Yeah.
And it's only $5. And, you know, things like that. And I was like, all right, well, people come to the internet for information. They're coming to TikTok for information. There's a shift happening. Fuck it. Why don't I just tell people things I wish I knew before I was in my 30s, which how to use a can opener, or 1 horsepower is not a horse.
Right.
Or, you know, like
it's not
that.
an actual horse.
Right. Like there's no actual horse for 1 horsepower. It's actually like whatever. So like things like that, right? And it was also things that I was like texting my older sister, because my older sister and I have these like moments where we're just like, hey, did you know that we've been using microwaves wrong? And my sister's like, oh my God, I just found that out too, right? And she's like 10 years older than me.
Right. I love that. I love that. You've
know?
got somebody to bounce those ideas off.
Yeah. So I just started recording them, and I found this little tagline, and I found an intro, and I found it, and I repeated it, and I knew that it was popping off.
And by the way, your tagline too is just. I mean, I'm gonna credit you with this again, but I feel like that you came up with that.
I did, yeah.
You know,
100%.
like the whole I didn't know until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
Because that's so catchy, and like I think people are like can really relate to that, but it also makes it just that much funnier, right? It's like,
yeah.
I can't believe I didn't know this most basic thing, but kind of basic, but really cool. And
yeah.
You know.
And also, I'm in my 30s. Like, guys, like,
right. I'm in my 30s.
Like, you couldn't have told me that. I don't know, even 10 years. Like, why am I just finding out that you can open up tuna fish this way? Like, guys, like, that's not. I've been eating a lot of tuna fish in my life. You know, so that kind of thing, right? And actually, when I was at this is kind of like a cool like fan moment for me. But one time I was at the Streamies, and I was talking to Michelle Khairi, and I said, "Hey, I'm like a really big fan and everything." And she goes, "Hey, I know you. You taught me a lot of things." And I was like, "You know who I am? This is crazy. Oh my God."
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm going to take a moment to brag too that Michelle is my client. In full disclosure, but
yeah.
Another star along with yourself. But yeah, that's so cool. I love
right?
that. I mean, like you
said,
like my friends are all like, I'll say Sidney Raz, and they'll be like, I know that guy.
That's
the
like 30s guy.
That
30s guy. Yeah, the hack guy. So then I find these hacks and I start doing them, and then TikTok.
So how do you find them?
Yeah. So, well, at first it was just literally things.
I mean, unless this is a trade secret.
No, it's not. I've said this many times. I literally, at first it was just actual things that I didn't know and I needed to get out there. Like the can opener one was a big one for me. Mm-hmm. And then after a while.
Grapes, by the way, was a big one for me.
The grape shake.
My producer and I were talking about this, yes. Especially if you have children.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, that changed my life. The grape shake.
I know.
Yes, that was a big one.
And so, yeah, for anyone listening, you take the entire bushel of grapes and you just shake them in the bag, and you don't have to pick them individually. And like, again, for us as parents, just like the amount of fucking grapes that I have to pick. And
exactly.
you're telling me.
Not to mention cut in half.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, you're telling me that I could just shake them and like cut out one of those processes.
Yeah. I'm the terrible parent, by the way, that gives the kid it on the bushel because I just couldn't be bothered. I know. But then I learned the grape shake, but I'm also like, this kid can pull the goddamn grape off the bushel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not that much work, for God's sake, but yes.
Yeah, that's what. So my 2-year-old would agree with you because I don't let her. Oh, she's so mean. But yeah, so I basically get them, and continue to get them from people send them to me at first, right? Like people started sending them to me.
So you're sourcing them.
And I was like, great, this is audience sourcing. This is incredible. And now I'm just really like served them in my algorithm. And content has shifted into more of like a react format, not necessarily a do format, which is interesting. But it's react then do. But yeah, it was just like things that I actually didn't know, trying out for the first time, and then it became things that people would send me, and now it's things that I see, and the audience and the ecosystem of the internet is so huge that all of the life hackers can react to the same video, and a lot of the audience that sees your video hasn't seen the other people's video, which is just like an insane thing.
Right.
But once you
Yeah,
really,
that's an interesting point you make.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like, the more you watch one thing, the more you get fed similar things.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, take for example Jordan, right? Jordan the Stallion.
Mm-hmm.
If he does a video, the likelihood our audiences may not overlap as much as we think they are, because we're inside that same like cohort, right? Like,
Right.
Lawyer World knows things about Lawyer World way more than
Mm-hmm.
I do. But then I ask you something and I'm the first one to hear about it, but you're like, but we've been talking about that for 4 weeks. What are you talking about? That kind of thing. So that's what happened, right? Like it was very organic in a lot of ways. I knew that I had to catch lightning in a bottle. I just held on for dear life, kept posting. And once I got to 1 million followers on TikTok, I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is my format. I am continuing to do this. Goodbye. And
Yeah,
here we are.
and that's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. And one of the things that I don't want to do on this podcast, and I know that you're not doing that, is talk specific numbers, but it's also like millions of followers. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
I think of like 1 million people. Like, I can't even get my head around that. But it's incredible. And you have a book. You also
Yeah, right
published
behind
a
me.
book, which is really
That-
exciting.
that-
Let me see.
hey.
Like, we can't see it. You'll have to pull it over.
Ready? That you helped me with.
Awesome.
You helped me.
Yes, we did, and I was very proud of you and very very happy to be a tiny part of that and help you put it out in the world. But that's incredible.
Yeah, and I think it's just one of those crazy things that how insane my year was last year, where it actually isn't the most insane thing that happened to me last year, and it was just one of those things where I'm like, oh right, like I published a fucking book.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's huge. It's huge. And it's successful. I mean, I feel like it's doing incredibly well.
There you go. I hope so. If you know something I don't, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do hear people talking about it and I do see it out in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, so
That's true. That's nice.
People
Thank
are
you.
definitely, yeah. I think it's great. It's no small feat.
It was a lot of work. I'm very proud of myself for doing it. And it's with a real publisher too, right? Like that was pretty cool.
A real publisher, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fly-by-night internet publisher where you have
No.
to pay them a lot of money.
No, this was a real imprint. This is DK. Like
I
that's
mean,
a real.
that's the big time right
Yeah.
there. Absolutely.
So yeah, so it felt pretty cool to do that for sure. But
Yeah, that's amazing. And so at what point did you figure out that you needed a team? Like because I want to talk about just the business part of it for a second. I love talking about the creative and hearing about the journey and the content, but like when did you feel like it became a business?
That's a really good question. I think that it became a business when I burned out and I realized that I needed help to fulfill all of the things that I want to do day to day, right? Especially because of my daughter. Like when I'm a dad, that's all I'm doing. Literally, that's all I'm doing. Like, so I would say 5 days a week for 8 hours a day, I get to be a person without a kid. But the minute that she gets home, that's just kind of the world that my wife and I built, which is like, it's all parenting all the time, right? Like we're all completely attentive. It's all about her, or at least like the family dynamic, right? We're doing things, we're making dinner, we're whatever, right? And then all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock, I'm tired and I'm already in my PJs. So it's like, I don't know what to do, right?
It's that parent life I can completely relate to.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Last
right.
night I was in my pajamas at 7 p.m. and I'm like,
yes,
great.
I love that, dude.
Like,
That is the best feeling in the world. I
yeah,
get home and I'm done. I just want to be in the comfy clothes. I'm dreaming
yeah,
about my bed 100%.
yeah,
It's the best feeling in the world when you get home.
exactly. So that's when I realized last year when I burned out, I was like, I need help. I need a team. I need a producer. I need a strategist. I need even more than that, right?
Well, and it's become a business. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
exactly. And you need to make money. Well, especially when revenue streams drop, you feel it. Like you really feel it. So when one revenue streams drop, you have to rely on the other revenue streams, or you have to build another one. And it's really about like just kind of balancing all of those plates. And then I realized like how many things I was doing and why I burned out. And you know, it became one of those things where I was like, I can't do this by myself anymore. I need to find help. And I found it at the end of 2024. You know, I got a producer, I got a strategist, which was really good. But it became one of those things where I was like, when I finally, I think like clicked and I had a vision of like, oh, I have a producer for Facebook, I have a producer for Snapchat, I have a producer for, you know, TikTok, whatever. These are all different people that I want to work with, and I have editors, and I'm like, oh, I want to build like a company, like a media company, right? Like that's a big deal. And Michelle Khairi is a good example. Zach King is a good example of like building a company around a person.
That's what's so exciting, right? About what's happening now is creators are their own individual media companies. And, you know, I can imagine it's very difficult for many who are creative
Yeah.
to figure out like, how do I turn this into a business? And that's why, you know, part of why I want to talk to people like you and do this podcast is because I want to, you know, for people to be able to listen and learn, right? Like this is how Sid did it. This is how he started, and this is how he's, you know, he's doing it, which is just incredibly interesting. Sorry, you were going to say something just when I jumped in.
But I mean, you're right. Like, and I'm still learning, right? Like, I'm nowhere near.
And by the way, that's where corporate America came in handy for you,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
you had that experience, right?
Well, and that's so. What's interesting is that when I had that sort of like mind shift of, oh, that's why corporate America is structured that way. Got it. You know, or like, oh, right, I do need. Like really, like I've said this before and I'll say it again, but working at React Media was like being at a trade school. Like I was being paid to be at school, basically. And it was hard. It had its ups and downs. But to know what a structured media company looks like, or the levels, the amount of people, like all of that stuff, I realized that I needed something analogous to that. And I was like, oh, okay, so hire blank, interview, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm nowhere near as, you know, I only have like 2 employees, but it still is something to be said of like, I know that it is more a business than it is a creative person in their home.
Right.
And that's
once you reach a certain point.
Yeah. And I think that's an important shift.
And honestly, like after that first hire, it just gets easier, right? Because I mean, it never gets easy, but it gets easier in the sense that, okay, I went through that process, I hired that person, it worked out or it didn't. And now I know what I need to do differently, or now I know where somebody else can help me. And so, yeah, I mean, that's great. And I'm glad that you're getting that help. And so what's next for Sid Raz? What is next for you and your brand?
Man, I think what's next is just, you know, leveling out, you know, keep on posting on that newsletter and secure that audience, I think, more. And I'm vlogging now with my cancer diagnosis, which is such a crazy thing because I was a daily vlogger in 2009 to 2010. Right?
Yeah, and that's a real grind.
Right.
Too.
Like I was vlogging every single day when I was in college, which is what I learned, which is when I learned that nobody wants to be in content as much as I do. So if they're not choosing to, keep them out because they don't like it.
Right.
So now I looked around like a week ago and And I was thinking, man, I have everything I need finally to be a vlogger. I have the cameras, I have the microphones, I have the editing equipment, I have the lights if I want them, and I have the story, right? I have the thing that is important to so many people to see, that I can showcase in a positive light that is so scary, right? Even if I am scared, which I am, but it's one of those things where I was like, oh, I have come full circle now where I am just going to be a vlogger again. And it's exciting. It's really exciting to think that. I'm talking to the camera again.
That's amazing. And it's such a courageous thing that it's so courageous to do that, Sid, and to tell your story. And it's just going to help so many people. And, and I hope it helps you as well.
It does. It does. And I hope that, I already know this. It does come off as capitalist, but we live in America, so sue me. Please don't sue me.
Well, if anyone tries it.
Yeah, if anyone tries, you're talking to the right person.
Don't even try it, people.
But it's, it's one of those things where it is like a filter for me as well to post about it, to communicate it, for people to see it, for people to connect with it, and for me, like, I said this, on LinkedIn, I said, this is the first time in my life that this is completely my story, right? This is my thing.
Wow. Nobody
else's. And even with all the loss that I've suffered, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my father-in-law, my daughter, my second daughter, all of that stuff was shared so completely by other people, but there's nobody else in my existence that can portray this as freely as I can and wants to. And it won't affect anyone else as much as it'll affect me. So that's why I'm posting about it, because I'm like, I need to talk about this. I want to talk about it, and I want people to know about it. So that's what's next for me. And after my surgery, I'll be a lifestyle vlogger, probably, of what's it like to live without a stomach.
Right. I'd watch that.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. And, we're rooting for you. And, I appreciate it so much. And thank you for coming on and telling us your story and sharing, your wisdom with us. And like I said, we're rooting for you. And I can't wait to see what's next.
I appreciate that, Anita. And thank you for having me on as your very first guest. At least I think so. But maybe it'll be switched around.
We'll see. I mean, this is all new for me too, but you will be on. Just know that.
Right, thank you for having me, and we'll talk soon.
Signed, Conversations with Digital Mavericks. This episode was produced by myself and Phoebe Dunn. Creative producer, Khairi Williams. Technical production support provided by Seth Richardson. Edited by Carmine Mattia. Social media strategy by Maureen Lauren Sedlak. And signed theme music by Carmine Mattia.